the headlines of this hour on VTV News. Prime Minister meets with South Korean Speaker of the National Assembly. And later on, businesses benefit from continued reduction in value-added tax. And in our world news, Venezuela and the US resume direct dialogue.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is currently 3 p.m. local time and you're tuning into 30 minutes of VTV News. I'm Dylan Lei with the latest updates. Now, continuing his official visit to South Korea, Prime Minister Phie had a meeting with Chairman of the National Assembly of the Republic of Korea, Won-sik. During the meeting, both sides agreed that the relationship between the two countries has developed rapidly and substantially in many areas and can be further strengthened through cooperation between the two countries' national assemblies. Prime Minister Phie proposed that the South Korean National Assembly approve policies to support Vietnamese enterprises in integrating more deeply in the global supply chain of Korean enterprises and to open up more opportunities for Vietnam's key exports to enter the Korean market. This will help the two countries achieve a trade turnover of $100 billion next year. The Prime Minister also suggested that both sides enhance cooperation in digital transformation, green transformation, and human resource training, especially in the fields of semiconductors and artificial intelligence. Vietnam's manufacturing sector grew strongly at the end of the second quarter. The Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, in June shot to 54.7 points, according to S&P Global. Additionally, the number of new orders recorded the highest increase since March 2011, leading to an increase in purchasing activity. Employment figures for companies also grew. The increase in both output and new orders are two factors contributing to the improvement of business conditions in Vietnam. The number of new export orders also recorded the fastest growth rate in the past 2 years. In addition to positive signs in the manufacturing industry and global markets, there's other good news from the government for businesses as several fees and charges are being reduced until the end of the year. The lifting of these fees aim to remove bottlenecks for enterprises and prop up their business activities under a circular of the Ministry of Finance. The support came just in time to assist businesses, helping them to gain more resources for investment in production.
In the first half of this year, this supermarket system recorded a cut of nearly $4 million in value-added tax or VAT, with consumers also benefiting. The reduction of value-added tax from 10% to 8% will help stabilize prices, therefore boosting consumer power.
The amount of tax reduced is the amount of saved for consumers. This policy is more positive news for this year's development.
We also feel that it can partially support our daily spending, and we are happy.
This textile enterprise on average can save about $11,000 monthly from tax reduction policy. It allows the company to reinvest in sustainable growth.
In the past 6 months, we have reduced import taxes by about $78,000, and our customers have also benefited from this reduction. We expect that with this support, our targets for the year can be achieved.
This reduction for the entire supply value chain can increase profits for small and medium-sized enterprises, thereby benefiting the state budget.
98% of small and medium businesses are in dire need of capital and support to promote their activities. The 2% VAT reduction policy covers them and acts as a huge support to promote economic growth.
The Civil Aviation Authority of Vietnam has requested stronger supervision in air ticket prices and more aircraft to increase transport capacity on international and domestic routes. Accordingly, airlines need to work with aircraft leasing partners around the world to find and replace aircraft that have been suspended due to engine recalls. Airlines must also find a way to increase the capacity on domestic routes to serve tourism demand. The Civil Aviation Authority of Vietnam also requires airlines to continue to strictly implement regulations on transport service prices for domestic passengers by clarifying each item included in the ticket price. It has been determined that 2024 will be the year of accelerating the process of key traffic projects. The accelerating investment and promotion disbursement for infrastructure projects, especially transportation infrastructure, have been bright spots in the economic performance of the first 6 months of the year. More in the following story.
In April, the Nguyen Expressway project began. This project was funded under a public-private partnership with an investment total of more than $432 million. All necessary resources has been gathered. The site clearance process is being urgently carried out.
We will complete the site clearance process in 2024. The entire route will be cleared and handed over to construction unit.
In the 2021 to 2025 period, investment in transportation is considered a necessary breakthrough. More disbursement will be made year on year. Hundreds of kilometers of highways have been put into operation, and more than 1,000 kilometers of national highways are still being constructed. In particular, many localities have also mobilized additional capital from both the state allocation resources and from investors to create support for these projects.
We have spent $78 million from local savings to invest in the Hanoi Tourism Expressway project.
Along with effectively promoting growth momentum, focusing on investment disbursement to soon put transportation projects into operation will contribute to reducing logistic costs for businesses, reducing input costs, and increasing the competitiveness of the economy. These efforts should create new development momentum for localities and regions.
In the first half of this year, lobster exports increased 57 times compared to the same period last year, reaching more than $130 million. According to the Vietnam Association of Seafood Exporters and Producers, most lobsters are exported to China. In Vietnam, many localities have strengths in lobster farming and have an estimated output of about 4,000 tons per year. Ornate rock lobsters in particular have high economic value, generating revenue of about $78.57 million. Currently, lobster exports to China are very favorable. However, in the long term, it is necessary to move towards official exports. Over the past 6 months, the agricultural sector has shown positive results. That is thanks to the sector's proactive solutions to cope with drought, salinity, livestock diseases, and rising costs. In addition to boosting the value of agricultural, forestry, and fishery export turnover, stabilizing the supply and price of food for the domestic market is also a priority. However, in the past 6 months of the year, as food is among the two sectors accounting for 70% of inflation, a synchronous solution is required.
The sharp increase in the US dollar exchange rate in the last 2 months has created great pressure on costs, as 80% of raw materials and additives for animal feed production are imports. These problems requires a synchronous solution, especially the development of domestic raw materials. This is the basis for stabilizing the prices of livestock products.
Animal feed used to remain at $15 to $20 per bag. It's only around $12 this year. But the prices of our products have recently dropped sharply.
African swine flu has caused localities to destroy more than 32,000 pigs since the beginning of the year. Supply was still guaranteed due to about 70% of the products coming from large enterprises. However, if there is no solution to prevent African swine flu, the future is uncertain.
In our neighboring countries, the situations are worse. If we do not tighten measures at the border to Cambodia, the situation will worsen in Vietnam.
Along with the total livestock herd increasing by 2 to 3% compared to the same period last year, the food supply in the past 6 months has also reached half of the year's target. Until the end of the year, all rice crops are considered good. However, according to the Department of Crop Production, despite recommendations leading to losses, the increase in rice prices and farmers' production needs to be halted. This is to ensure supply. Having an abundant supply of food is an important factor that helps reduce pressure on prices. This is also a condition for the agriculture sector to achieve both export and food security goals this year.
Before we move on, let's have a look at the exchange rate between the Vietnam dong and some world currencies in today's market. Coming up next on VTV News. For the first time, citizens under 14 now eligible for ID cards. And the second Danang Asian Film Festival opens with quality entries from Vietnam and the world. Now moving on to other important updates, the 2023 Law on Identification has officially taken effect on July the 1st this year, allowing children under 14 years of age the right to citizen identification or ID cards upon request. ID cards issued to Vietnamese citizens under 14 years of age can be used to travel by plane or train to assist with studies or medical treatment without having to bring any extra documents. This card, however, cannot replace the issuance of a birth certificate. In addition, children under 6 years old will not have their biometric information collected for ID cards. Children aged 6 to 13 need the presence of a legal representative at the Identification Management Agency to collect identification information and biometric information. Localities have saved more than $1.8 billion from the budget thanks to the trust of the policy credit system. This amount will increase resources for poverty reduction and social security and has contributed to fundamentally changing many rural areas, especially communes and districts with specific difficulties.
Vu Nông, a particularly difficult commune with a multi-dimensional poverty rate of up to 90%. Korean pear trees were brought in for experimental planting, and after 3 years, the whole commune has created a pear specialized area of nearly 60 hectares. Thanks to a policy loan of $4,000, Lý Mùi Lụa family has been able to plant 300 pear trees.
We earn 4 to 5 times more than growing corn. Thanks to this initiative, we can escape poverty.
Many disadvantaged students have been able to continue their study thanks to preferential loans from the Social Policy Bank. 16 years ago, after receiving the notice of admissions to medical university, Nguyen thought she would have to stay home because her family could not afford the tuition fees. With timely loans, Nguyen persevered in her studies, making her dream of becoming a doctor come true.
The interest rate was generally very low for poor students like me. After graduating and working in my own locality, I was really happy with what I have learned and then applied it to taking care of my people's health.
After 10 years of implementing Directive 40 of the Secretariat, Resources for Poverty Reduction has helped more than 3.1 million households borrow capital to create jobs and cross the poverty line, and has enabled more than 600,000 disadvantaged students to continue their studies.
Non-traditional security issues such as natural disasters, epidemics, and climate change are becoming increasingly serious. All of these are posing new requirements for the social policy credit operations and require new perspectives and new solutions. Thus, improving the quality of social policy credit operation is essential.
The drastic and effective implementation of Directive Number 40 of the Central Party Secretariat is still an important fulcrum in implementing social policy credit. It promotes the strength of the entire political system while maximizing the efficiencies of capital sources of localities, social organizations, and citizens in the sustainable poverty reduction process. The aim is that no one is left behind in the country's ongoing development.
In response to the National Target Program on Socio-Economic Development in Ethnic Groups and Mountainous Areas for the 2021 to 2025 period, many localities in Vietnam have implemented various measures to help ethnic people earn a stable income and raise their living standards. Our report from Hai District, one of the most successful localities with a high poverty reduction rate in Quang Ninh Province.
More than 3,000 workers are working for this foreign-invested enterprise. About 60% of them are ethnic people. The good salary and favorable working environment are among the contributing factors that have boosted ethnic workers' commitment at Hai Ha Seaport Industrial Park.
Traditionally, the Zhao people made a living from the sea, but now many Zhao people prefer working in industrial parks.
I started working at this company in 2016. My husband and I can earn more than $780 per month.
After paying for living expenses, we send money home and have some savings to build a new house in the future.
As a mountainous district of Quang Ninh Province, Hai Ha District is home to 11 ethnic groups. Local authorities have prioritized vocational training for ethnic people in industrial parks to help them improve their income.
Ethnic people are encouraged to work in industrial parks. This is the most effective way to facilitate recruitment for the companies, improve ethnic people's income, and boost the local socio-economy. We've provided ethnic workers with necessary knowledge and skills to perform their job.
We highly appreciate the hard work and perseverance of ethnic workers. They have great passion and good technical skills. Therefore, we have assigned workers to different posts in the factory.
In the first 5 months of this year, Hai Ha Seaport Industrial Park attracted nearly $400 million in foreign direct investment and recruited 1,570 new workers. Ensuring a stable income for workers is one of the most important factors to improve employee engagement and change the lives of local ethnic people.
The General Statistics Office, or GSO, and the Government Committee for Ethnic Minority Affairs jointly conducted information collection for a survey on the socio-economic situation of the 53 ethnic groups across the country from July the 1st. The survey's findings will be an important foundation for designing socio-economic development policy for ethnic inhabited and mountainous areas in the 2026 to 2030 period. Information on population, housing, marriage, education, and living conditions of the communities will be collected to make statistical indicators used for the building of socio-economic development policies for rural areas. On the afternoon of July 1st in Lai Châu, the Border Guard Command coordinated with the Office of the Ministry of Public Security, the Ministry of Labor, Invalids and Social Affairs to organize an awareness campaign on preventing and combating human trafficking. The campaign was for people in the border commune of Hoi Luông in Phong Tho District. It aims to inform people about the consequences of illegal entry and exit and give updates on human trafficking activities on the border routes. Locals were also educated by watching reports and sketches on the methods and tricks employed by human traffickers. As human trafficking becomes increasingly complex and sophisticated, awareness campaigns pose an effective solution to help people stay vigilant and protect themselves against trafficking activities and provide information of such acts to the authorities for proper handling. The second Danang Asian Film Festival opened on Tuesday and runs until July the 6th in Danang City. That is a special cultural event to select and honor outstanding cinematographic works rich in humanity with new discoveries and unique artistic expression. The theme of this year's festival is Asia's Bridge. The festival will introduce to the public new cinematic works from Vietnam, the Asia-Pacific region, and selected films from the world cinema.
Their second Danang Asian Film Festival has 63 participating films, including audience favorites such as Mai, Lobster, and Piano, and Face Off 7, One Wish. Many familiar faces from global film industries will participate as judges, and the festival will award the Film Achievement Award to an outstanding filmmaker.
We strive to improve the quality of our profession, the quality of each film submitted, and the quality of professionals participating in the film festival.
Within the framework, many special events will take place, such as the Asian film competitions and Vietnamese film competition categories.
For me, film festivals are the place where people get to see films that are rarely shown in theaters. They are also places where filmmakers meet and interact with audiences.
With the theme Asia's Bridge, the film festival continues to spread awareness about Vietnamese cinema activities. It is an event of culture and artistic value and benefit, and it is expected that more localities will participate together towards a developing Vietnamese cinema industry in the future.
Hanoi is taking a number of measures to encourage visitors to stay longer during the summer, including improving accommodation by adding a number of 4- and 5-star hotels, according to the city's Department of Tourism. The city currently has 3,760 lodging establishments with more than 71,200 rooms. The number of ranked hotels and apartments accounts for 16% of the total. This effort aims to create an interconnected network between management agencies, airlines, travel businesses, accommodations, and various services such as dining, shopping, and entertainment. In the first half of the year, Hanoi welcomed over 14 million visitors, generating tourism revenue exceeding 55.3 trillion Vietnam dong. This year, Hanoi aims to attract over 27 million visitors, demonstrating its commitment to further growth in tourism. Coming up next in our world news, Venezuela and the U.S. resume direct dialogue. And later on, dengue fever cases reach record high. Now, moving on to our world news, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro said on Monday that he had accepted a proposal to restart direct negotiations with the United States. The Venezuelan leader said that the president of Venezuelan National Assembly, Jorge Rodriguez Gomez, would lead the country's delegation to the talks scheduled for July the 3rd. However, he did not give details on the topics to be discussed. The talks began 2 years ago, but were suspended after sanctions against Venezuela's oil sector. The Venezuelan president expressed his support for dialogue to increase mutual understanding, change, and to seek a future for bilateral relations on the condition of absolute respect for the sovereignty and independence of the South American country. The European Union, or EU, accused Facebook owner Meta of violating the blog's digital rules. The case centers on an ad-free subscription model for Facebook and Instagram. The model, which Meta launched in 2023, gives users the option to pay to avoid data collection or agree to share personal data to continue using the platform for free. The European Commission, or EC, said the model does not comply with the Digital Markets Act, as Meta forces users to agree to the collection of personal data. Meta insists that its model complies with the blog's laws. If the EU's allegations are proven true, Meta could face fines of up to 10% of its global turnover. Oil prices rose about 2% to a two-month high in Monday's trading session, as the market hopes fuel demand will increase during the Northern Hemisphere summer. Brent crude futures ended the session at $86.60 a barrel in London, while U.S. light sweet crude rose to $83.38 a barrel. This was the third consecutive session that Brent crude closed at its highest level since April 30th, and is also the highest closing price for light sweet crude since April the 26th. OPEC Plus has extended most of its oil production cuts until 2025, leading analysts to predict a supply shortage in the third quarter of 2024 due to transport activities and air conditioning demand during the summer. In addition to concerns about the spread of the Middle East conflict, the U.S. Federal Reserve's interest rate cut and political instability in Europe have also contributed to supporting oil prices. The first 6 months of this year have seen a record number of dengue fever cases. Climate change, which has led to warmer weather and the spread of invasive mosquitoes, is one cause amongst others. This in the following report.
As of April 30th, the World Health Organization has recorded more than 7.6 million cases of dengue, including more than 16,000 severe cases and more than 3,000 deaths. The number of dengue cases reported globally has increased significantly over the past 5 years, but the trend is more pronounced in the Americas. Peru has declared a health emergency due to the dengue outbreak, with tens of thousands of cases.
Always keep the water close, keep the house clean. That's it. That is my advice for everybody, because it's not nice to be sick. It's terrible to have dengue.
Cases of dengue and other mosquito-borne diseases are also rising sharply in Europe. The European Center for Disease Prevention and Control says climate change is creating more favorable weather conditions for mosquitoes to move into previously unaffected areas and infect more people. There is a link between higher summer temperatures, warmer winters, and the spread of mosquitoes to new areas. In Asia, the Philippines recorded 205 deaths from the dengue between January 1st and June 15, as dengue cases began to rise during the rainy season.
And up next, let's have a look at the weather forecast. And that is all that we have this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can visit our website or YouTube channel or download a mobile app, VTVgo, for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.